In Money Watch, the trade war between the U.S. and China is escalating. Today, the Trump administration is instituting a higher rate of tariff against Chinese goods. The Trump administration raised tariffs on $200 billion worth of Chinese goods from 10% to 25%. And if you're wondering how this could impact you, one trade group estimates the tariffs could cost the average American family around $767 a year. So CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger is joining us now for more on how this could impact consumers. So, like we explained, the tariffs were initially put in place September of 2018. Now they're getting jacked up. But it's the same number of goods, the same category of goods. What items are we talking about?
So same basket of goods, but it's everything from furniture to shampoo to some clothing to some fruits and nuts, bed sheets, what else? Electronics, handbags. So there's a lot of different parts of this, parts of the economy that are impacted by this. And of course, what we are expecting is now that this increase has gone into effect, they're still talking, so there's still negotiations going on today, but the Chinese are also likely to retaliate. Remember that our U.S.-based farmers have really taken a hit on our exports into China.
Yeah, so we're talking about goods that would be leaving China today. That means that we're not going to see the impact right now, but when could we see the impact? So
experts are saying it's usually a 90 to 120-day lag. And with that said, though, we know you mentioned that report, $767. And I think that that's actually a pretty sizable amount of money. And I was interested in sort of looking down into the how they got there. And I went to a different analogy, which is we had a tariff in place on washing machines last year, okay? And if you look at the average washing machine, the price went up by $82. But you know what's really weird? There were also increases on dryers. And dryers, there were no tariffs on that. So there are these weird other effects because manufacturers say, well, people buy washers and dryers, might as well make a little bit of money on the dryers and putting them together. So you could see how costs could escalate if this stays in place. And that's a big if. We don't know if it will.
And sort of, this is kind of a bit of a trade war, but often the idea behind tariffs is to sort of encourage us to buy homemade products because the foreign products are more expensive. But when I look at this number, $700, do people just keep shopping the way they normally do? Like, are tariffs not a discouragement at all?
Well, it depends, right? So I think the issue is that there's two parts of that. Yes, I do think they shop around, but when we look at that same scenario with the washing machines, not only were imported washing machines like those from LG or Samsung more expensive, the U.S. manufacturers jacked up their prices as well. Why did they do that? Because they could. And so they could jack it up maybe by not as much, but it still looks relatively cheaper to the imported one. And remember, we're talking a lot when the president says there were jobs. According to manufacturing industry, 1,800 jobs associated with those washing machine tariffs. However, we also saw $1.5 billion of extra cost to consumers. So you figure it out, it's about 800 grand per job created. I don't think most people would sign up for that deal.
Yeah, you touched on the farmers, the sort of the flip side of this war, if you will, trade war. How are our American farmers being impacted?
Well, it's been pretty rough, I have to say, because, you know, if you are a soybean farmer in the United States, what you were doing is you were hoping that that Chinese market was opening up and increasing. So when they put the tariffs on the U.S. farming products, it really hurt us. So, you know, everything wheat and soybeans and sorghum, which is another product that we make here, really been hurt. Interestingly enough, a lot of farmers who probably voted for President Trump, when we look at the states from where they're from, many of them are sort of saying, well, we're in this for the long term. We hope it gets better. And they're still pretty much in the supporting camp of President Trump.
Yeah, that's very true. We've done stories here at CBS News, and they certainly continue to support him. They're also hoping, I mean, he did promise them relief.
Yes.
And they're hoping that that kicks in, too, that will help them sort of make it to the other side.
Well, there has been some government relief provided. But again, you know, if the whole point of tariffs is to make a more level playing field, we are not there yet. And so we hope that these talks create that level playing field. Remember, we're talking about this idea that China really makes any American company either hand over their trade secrets or do business with a Chinese company in order to do business in China. That is patently unfair, and we have to get that situation eradicated. If the trade talks get us there, I think a lot of businesses will be happy. But if they get a watered-down deal and all it did was cost the consumers or businesses some money, they're not going to be happy.
Could this have an impact on our GDP?
Well, if you look at the new round of tariffs at 25%, about 0.3%. So if we were going to grow by about 2.5% this year, maybe 2.2%.
All right.
Not nothing.
Right. Jill Schlesinger, thank you so much.
Thanks.